Hello YouTube, it is Fancy Ellie here tonight on Transcending Origins. It is well past my bedtime. It is about 6 a.m. right now, and I am going to be discussing this week's topic, which is purging. And when Jess first brought up this topic to me, I was a little hesitant just due to the fact that, well, I hadn't really, the last time that I purged, it was, God, at least a few years ago. And so I was kind of thinking, what can I actually have to contribute to the topic? But upon really kind of thinking about this, I realized how important of a topic it actually is, because it's really reflective of kind of your self-acceptance over time and your kind of like how much shame you are actually feeling. Because, I mean, I think in regards to like purging, well, to give purging a definition here so we can actually talk about it throughout the week, purging is, from my frame of reference, collecting all this girl clothing or girl makeup, or in regards to like, male to female to male, your guy clothing that you collect over time, and then feeling this guilt or shame about it and then getting rid of it somehow. And in my case, growing up, I had 5 sisters, so the clothing was very easily accessible for me, and so I would steal it or borrow it or whatever, and just kind of shove it deep within my closet and only take it out on occasions that I knew nobody else was around so I could actually dress up. And then for me, this shame and fear was really kind of associated with well, okay, if they found it, not only would I have guilt about the fact that, okay, they would now realize that I stole it, but they would also realize that I'm a cross-dresser. So there's this kind of it was this really kind of scary thing that I didn't want anybody to find out because there was so much embarrassment about it. But over time, as you kind of grow up, and I think for a lot of transgender people this kind of happens in your 20s, where you go through this whole period of self-acceptance, as everybody does, regardless of being transgender or not. But in regards to being transgender, you can kind of finally start looking at that clothing that you've been gathering up over time, and look at it and say, this is my clothing. This isn't just some clothing that I am borrowing from my sister or mother or whatever, or that I've purchased and now I'm going to get rid of because I feel guilty about. This is actually my clothing. This is me. This is how I feel. And I think when you can kind of finally actually go on to that step and actually be able to do that, that's kind of where you, in my opinion, kind of move from the just cross-dresser phase to the actual transgender phase. And I mean, I think there's a lot of transgender people that are still, that kind of are in that cross-dresser phase. I think, I've been kind of a part of Minnesota transgender group thing on Yahoo, and I always get messages from these 60-year-old men who are trying to hide it from their wives, so they try to purge all their clothing to all the other transgender men on that group, and it's kind of there's a lot of shame and fear associated there, and hence why they're 60-year-old men and haven't actually transitioned yet. And I mean, I feel bad when that happens. I feel kind of bad for those people because there's this whole element of self-acceptance that they've totally skipped. And I really think that that's what it comes down to, is this purging is a symptom of lacking of self-acceptance. And that's my opinion. I mean, there's probably some other takes on purging that I'm just not thinking of, but in regards to purging, I really feel that that's kind of what's really going on there. I mean, there's been times where I was trying to hide it from my girlfriend at the time or something like that, so I would get rid of all the clothing that I hid in my closet, just so if she was going to go through my closet, she wouldn't find anything. And I mean, over time though, I mean, it really is just this kind of progressive self-acceptance. Sorry if I'm sounding kind of rambling here, because it's, as I said, my brain's kind of burnt out. It's 6 a.m. and I've gotten 2 hours of sleep in the past 48 hours. Sorry. Anyways, that is, I guess, really my take on the whole purging topic. I guess my recommendation for people who still are in the purging phase or cross-dresser phase, as I call it, but it's just stop feeling the shame or guilt. It's not good to feel the shame or guilt. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's this is you. I mean, all that clothing that you keep on, hiding or whatnot, that is you. I mean, this is your interests. And I think this is, I mean, kind of the part of becoming an adult, you know, actually being able to like accept your interests, accept your flaws, accept your actions that you're doing as you, and stop kind of like dissociating it. Because in doing this, it really becomes very dissociative. I felt growing up, I always felt like I was a very dissociative youngster. And actually being able to kind of like accept myself as transgender, accept all that clothing that I have in my closet as me, it really kind of like centers you and really allows you to kind of, there's this huge element of freedom there with it, and actually being able to be proud about the fact that you're, you know, transgender, be proud about who you are. And it's like, this purging thing is just, it's like in talking about it, you realize that it's a very unhealthy thing. It's a very unhealthy topic to actually be. I mean, it's a very unhealthy thing to be doing. Not unhealthy topic. Sorry, burnt out. As I said, 6 a.m. 2 hours of sleep, 48 hours. Yeah, I'm rambling now. Okay, I'm gonna shut up for the evening, but hopefully I had something meaningful to contribute there. Anyways, yeah. Good night, YouTube.